रेकॉर्डिंग स्टार्ट केलं का? कुठे येते इथे?
A very good morning to all. I, Miss Anga, on behalf of Principal, Vice Principal and staff of Bharati Vidyapeeth College of Pharmacy, Kolhapur, would like to welcome you all for AICTE-sponsored FDP on Nutrigenomics Unveiled Frontier in Healthcare, organized by Bharati Vidyapeeth College of Pharmacy, Kolhapur. We are now in day 3 of this program and I hope all are extracting maximum out of it. Now we will start with our first session. I would like to request Ms. Pradna Wadekar ma'am to introduce our guest speaker, Dr. Prakash Itankar sir. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. A very good morning to all. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Prakash Rambhoji Itankar. Dr. Itankar is presently working as Professor of Pharmacognosy Section, Head of the Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences, and as the Director of Technology Park at Rashtra Sant Tukaroji Maharaj, Nagpur University, Nagpur. He has total 26 years of professional experience, including 6 years of intense research work. He is actively engaged in research on the problems faced by the industry and has completed 35 years of project, 35 research projects. Till now, 100 students have completed their PG, 7 candidates got PhD awarded, 5 are pursuing PhD under his ever guidance. He has delivered more than 100 lectures over different forums. He has received many prestigious awards like Ethnopharmacology Outstanding Service Award by Society for Ethnopharmacology India in 2015, Mahatma Phule Lifetime Achievement for Excellence in Social Work, Anandibai Joshi Award for Services in Health in 2015, FFE Outstanding Local Chapter Award at the 18th International Congress of International Society for Ethnopharmacology at Dhaka University, Dhaka, Bangladesh in 2018, and the Best Teacher Award of Rashtra Sant Tukaroji Maharaj Nagpur University in 2018. He is working for socializing the traditional claims to ethnopharmacology and scientific validation of the drugs from natural origin or their formulation. He is also engaged in research for exploring new drug molecules, novel combinations, novel dosage forms, seeking patents, imbibing entrepreneurship, supporting and bridging the gap of scientific ambiguity amongst the practitioners and the users. I request sir to start today's first lecture on exploring traditional organic nutraceuticals. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, good morning all. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So first of all, I would like to thank Bharati Vidyapeeth, Kolhapur, and AICTE for creating a platform and giving an opportunity for me to deliver something which we experienced in our professional life. And by sharing it, I would be actually sharing happiness amongst all of you. I believe that a successful life really means to those people who themselves lead a happy and contented life and make tireless efforts to make others happy, may truly be said to have led their life successfully in the true sense of the term. So I believe in this philosophy, which was scripted by Jivan Vidya Mission, Shri Vaman Rao Pai. So by taking that note in life, while I was working in professional arena of our pharmaceutical sciences, I could connect myself and our research to the applied values which are supposed to be, there in everybody's work, and whatever that we can give back to the society shall be thought of. So I would be coming now to Firoz Tamboli sir, because he is the one who really made all these things possible. So I would like to thank him and the principal sir, for giving me this opportunity. I'm just sharing. Somebody should confirm whether the slides are visible. Is my slide very visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. And how much time do I have, ma'am? My
10 to
session is
12.
from
Hello,
10 to
sir.
12. Okay,
Ah,
that's amazing. Thank you so much, sir.
okay.
So today I'm going to take you to a wonderful journey wherein I wish to emphasize upon your own theme. And the theme is about nutrigenomics. And I'm going to talk about the originals amongst the nutraceuticals. So original is organic. And organic, which has been told to us for years together through our culture and through our ancestors, is our tradition. So exploring that tradition, and in that tradition, we are looking for those nutraceuticals which are naturally available, which are not halfway synthesized or partially synthesized or fully synthesized, but they are biosynthesized by the plants, by the nature itself. Now, how significant it is for us to know that the nature has, wonderfully viewed the network of phytochemicals, which are of great significance to us. And is there any noise from my side, or is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Whether my voice is okay?
Yes, fine, sir.
Because today, since it is 10 a.m., I'm delivering the talk from my home and some work is going on, renovation. So if any disturbance you feel, you can
No,
tell me, I can ask them to stop. Huh?
okay, sir.
Right. Thank you. So, and that is where we really repurpose ourselves, because when the life was, taking the twists and turns and we were evolving as a human being, we need to really look back. And that is why I said explore. And what is the exploration? So you can see here the slide which says harmonious nature and we. So how do we connect ourselves? Let us, zoom out and go into the Brahmanda and then our Akash Ganga. And the dot which is there in that Akash Ganga is our earth. Now this is what the value that we owe with respect to our earth itself. And then we really need to find how do we give importance to this particular planet, which is our mother earth, and how much we care about ourselves. And that connect I wish to really highlight. And when we talk about Ananta Koti Brahmanda, then it is said to be not only one Akash Ganga, many Akash Gangas, and then the number remains Ananta Koti. In that, only one earth we are knowing about, and there is a habitat. Now let us go little close to the earth. That is our mother planet. When we zoom in, we find that it's a wonderful spherical ball, and then it has been held by the unknown life force, because it is not hanged with any thread or anything like that. No strings are attached, and everything is floating, in the, we can say, atmosphere, and nothing is falling, nothing is colliding, and everything is being, managed wonderfully well. And that is what we call as life force or the cosmic life force. मराठीत सांगायचं झालं त्यालाच आपण देव म्हणतो किंवा ईश्वर असं म्हणतो. Now when we have to really owe ourselves to that particular life force, how can we define that? So there are several definitions in several religious terms, and when I was studying this particular matter as to how can I thank the Mother Almighty, by understanding the pharmacognosy, then the plants, and then the planet, and then to the cosmic life force, which is so automatically doing everything. So I found a very satisfactory and very scientific and relevant definition for this cosmic life force. Shri Vaman Pai of Jivan Vidya Mission says, this energy or this life force is a natural, intrinsically automatic, self-regulatory, systematized order endowed with the universal laws of nature. So when it comes to the existence of the whole scenario that I was talking about, everything is very natural. No one is visible to have any control कि अर्थ का स्पीड आज इतना रखना है, कल दूसरी स्पीड में हम लोग चलाएंगे, अप डाउन टॉस करेंगे, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. सो इतना रेगुलेटेड जब है तो हम लोग इसे सेल्फ रेगुलेटरी ही कहेंगे. इतना ऑटोमेटिक है कि वो इंट्रिंसिकली ऑटोमेटिक हम बोलेंगे. एंड इट इज अ वेरी सिस्टमेटाइज्ड ऑर्डर. नाउ व्हाई आई एम टेलिंग यू ऑल दिस इज, let us zoom in. So we are coming closer and closer to our mother earth, and what we found is something which is marvelous. This earth is bestowed with wonderful bounty of diversity. Now that diversity, whenever we talk about, is a biodiversity, wherein we feel that okay, there is a wonderful mix of big plants, smaller herbs, and then remains the shrubs. So we know only about up to this level. Then we know that there is a water, there is a air, there is a fire, and there are a few animal species which live over here. Now one amongst those animals are we, means the human beings. Now let us just connect ourselves with our subject when we call it as nutraceuticals or the nutrigenomics. Now this genetic makeup of all these components which are available on the earth, or which are present on the earth, or which was created intrinsically and automatically by Mother Nature, what is the role and what kind of a connect they have. So this picture in front of you shows a man, a cattle, and the nature around him. We can really understand how man, because of his innate say brain and the kind of analytical power, he started utilizing the things which are placed around him for the purpose of meeting his food requirements, about his shelter, and also for medicines. Now this connect was very local in the past. Now what has happened is going to be a new story, but this picture you have to keep in mind, because this may come again in the end of my presentation. The interdependence of the diversity means not only the biodiversity, but all kinds of diversities which are given to us interconnect. And let us assume that we know something about a vegetative plants, which knows naturally that it has to reproduce and it has to grow. So that is the only duty and the purpose of the the plants on this earth. We know the animals, they have certain mobility, they have sensations, they have feelings, and they are the sensitive souls. But when it comes to humans, we found that we have a thought process, we have a response and reflections of our elements, and we also rationalize the things. So we are a rational soul. So everything taken together is a wonderful biodiversity that is available on this planet Earth. Now what are the specific advantages with human beings? We know that one of the the greatest organ that we have is the brain itself, and we keep on thinking, and a lot of thoughts that comes into mind, and those thoughts are either destructive or creative. Now when it comes to creative, so it aligns with the creative forces of the universe. But when you think and you act against the natural law of, we can say, nature, what happens? So we have to really go into that aspect also. And what happens when we really think in a very creative and constructive way? What happens when human thinks positively? So when he thinks positively, he identified that there is a definite connect between him and the Pancha Tattvas. Now these Pancha Tattvas are commonly referred as Pancha Mahabhuta. So it comprises of water, air, fire, earth, and space. We know that. But minus any one of them, you just minus or deduce any one of them, you will find that you will not be able to live on this earth. Without any one of them, existence of human is impossible. And therefore, we have just changed this term of Pancha Mahabhuta to Pancha Mahadev. So we have to really owe that all these principles are in harmony along with our body, and then only we exist on this earth. For our, very existence, we need to thank all these five Pancha Mahabhutas. Now, when it comes to our own body, how much we care, we usually, find that in the youth days, we, take maximum advantages of this body. We do not care about what level of, stress that we are inducing on it. And then suddenly there are, appearing signals that something is wrong inside. When it comes to the looking into the body from the medical sciences point of view, or even from the pharmaceutical sciences point of view, we usually localized our medicines to alleviate, say, pain or for removing the diseases from your body. But Guyton and Hall, in our textbook of medical physiology, says indeed the human body is much more than the sum of its parts, and life relies upon this total function, not just on the function of individual body parts in isolation from the others. So this book of physiology is a wonderful affirmation of the fact that you have to take the whole body into consideration, not the individual body parts, while you prescribe, or while you work your ways of giving the solace or giving the panacea or the medicines to this particular body. So what has to be done and where we went really wrong? Let us look into that point also. When it comes to nature's amazing creation examples, we know that the whole nature is एक चमत्कार है, और चमत्कारों से भरा हुआ ये हमारा एक शरीर है. Can you just look into the kind of placement that we have for our eye? What a wonderful engineering, bioengineering has been done. Now, to create a similar kind of engineering, it would take millions of years for us to reach up to that precision. But the amazing cosmic life force has created this. We are talking about only one part, which zooms in, zooms out, which keeps on wetting itself by flanking of your eyelids. Eyelids are supposed to be protected by the hairs at the end of the eyelids, and this kind of a wonderful placements of each part and each component has led it to a very kind of a amazing thing. Now, how much we really care about it? Do we really thank the Almighty for giving us or bestowed us with such a wonderful creation of it? We don't. And therefore, when it comes to कुछ अगर चूक जाता है आंखों में, तब हमें उसका इम्पोर्टेंस पता चलता है, तब हम लोग भगवान को याद करते हैं. Another very amazing thing which I would like to take in front of you is our blood. Now, how much has to be generated, how its flow will be regulated, how much the new blood will come into your body. Now, this is all self-regulatory, and this we have to really align with that definition which I told you about the cosmic life force. This is intrinsically automatic, self-regulating. It doesn't happen कि पानी की टाकी जिस तरह से भर जाती है बाद में ओवरफ्लो हो जाती है, उस तरह से तो नहीं होता है. So when such a wonderful thing has come to you, our thought process, why it remains so destructive while we studied this science. When we were studying science, it was like in the beginning we thought the plant world, like if you look at the plant, we were really looking at अरे कौन से फ्रूट्स इसके ऊपर में लगते हैं, वो फ्रूट्स की क्या टेस्ट है, वो पकने के बाद में उसका टेस्ट कैसे आता है, what are the values, the food values of its leaves, of its roots or something like that. So whole idea of looking at the plant was very natural कि उसमें फल फूल, उसके कलर्स और उससे आने वाला हमें benefits. बस यहाँ तक हम लोग सीमित थे. When we started taking advantage of science, which was really good to know what is there inside. You know, we started categorizing the plant in the form of a seed, fruit, leaf, stem, flower, etc. But then again, further science moved in and we started looking into one single cell of the plant. And we found that, oh, it is a wonderful set of life itself. All the organelles which are present in the one cell are good enough to create a life from itself only. And therefore, we moved further and we did science, which we usually call as the cell cultures studies, and we started creating the plant organs or the plant itself from the tissue culture. So this is the advantage from a broader look to zooming in because of this science. And now our vision is like, when we look at the plant, we usually don't take enjoyment or happiness in looking at its color, its inflorescence, its flowers, but being the scientist, we usually just focus on, okay, this plant is there, so this is having the alkaloids in it, and how can I extract those alkaloids? I came to know about the proper certain uses of this medicinal plant, and how can I take those phytochemicals into my laboratory and patent and like that. So the whole vision has been distracted. We are not able to take the happiness out of it. So the medicinal plant cells, what I was telling you about, with the advent of science, went into metabolic engineering, and we found that the cells, they were screened out for high yielding cell lines, and then they through cell culture and bioreactor engineering, the extraction happened, and we used to started getting the secondary metabolites. Now this can also come directly from medicinal plant cells, but because of the science and required purity, we started using the bioreactors. Now in say natural product studies, we usually work on this line. Like you have two drugs on the upper side, and what we do is we do first the extraction, and then we do ADME screening, that is the adverse drug mechanism we usually find out. And then we zoom into active compounds, we find out the potential targets for it, and then we realized that, okay, if the potential targets are hit by active compounds and then the activity is coming, then let us look into the pathway analysis. So this we usually connect with that of the disease analysis. So if you have a say kind of inflammation, then you have to really look into this, the interleukins and the TNF alpha and other kind of connects that we could manage to see from our we can say the scientific purview that we really established. But when it came to the network constructions as to what happens when you give one molecule into the body and how the whole body responds to it, how one cell responds to it and how the whole body responds to it, this is a wonderful mapping of network biology, which was studied wonderfully well by the Pune-based group of researchers. So at Agarkar Research Institute, and this is what has been found. See, one molecule can create so many points of positive, we can say, influences, but they also noted that there are many receptors in the same body which is going to be adversely affected by one molecule. So this kind of a response and reply from within the body to any drug molecule is really going to be very difficult to be studied. But then what was our own practice? Like now we have further grown inside, and we have found that say for studying the antiviral studies, how the drug is reaching up to the receptors, and then the receptors are taking the drug inside, and how the drug after reaching inside is flushing out the virus. So that kind of a very deep studies were usually conducted. But I just wish to take you back again to the system of healthcare, which was existent for thousands of years. How they were looking into the disease analysis, how they were targeting that which plant would be useful for this particular disease. It was all amazing. Say like you just close your eyes and think that you are in the forest, and how will you really pinpoint that one particular plant is useful for one disease? there must be a tremendous piece of work or research that must have happened. People must have innately connected with the plants, and they must have realized the importance of those plants, and therefore we have a wonderful repository of information from our traditional knowledge, which says that, okay, if it is sarpagandha, it has to be given for the person who is insane. Insane means जो पगला है, जो पागल है, जो जिसका ब्लड प्रेशर बहुत ही जूम आउट हो जाता है और वो अपने आपे भी नहीं है, तो ऐसे व्यक्ति को सर्पगंधा दिया जाना चाहिए. Now let us again create a situation wherein you can just see one very insane person, and how will you really identify the plant? Now amongst the plant also, the scientists, means the earlier sages, they reach up to the roots. They did not find any effect in the upper organ of the plant. So what kind of a science they must have done? That needs to be really explored. What led them to really go up to the root, pick up the root and try it on that person to get the desired results? That is what we call as traditional healthcare system. These are called as the indigenous health practices, which depends on both on the naturally available substances and the psychosomatic lines of treatment. So both the things work in the traditional systems of medicines. When it comes to talking about the traditional systems of medicines of India, on the platform of, or we can say on the global platform, like World Health Organization, you say, World Health Organization have accepted the traditional medicines systems from all across the globe, including that of India. And from India, we have found that this Ayurveda, homeopathy, Unani, yoga, and Siddha, along with naturopathy now, has been taken up and approved as the traditional systems of medicines. Now, why that has happened so? It is because there were certain documents, there were certain logics for identifying the disease, like Vat Pitta Kapha in Ayurveda, like Balgam and characteristics of the blood in Unani, and similarly for other systems of medicines. So a basic doctrine principles were established. There were certain documentation for its support, and therefore we got a global acceptance and convergence of traditional systems of medicines. Now we know that yoga is practiced globally, Ayurveda is accepted globally, and like that. But we really forgot, we really skipped acknowledging and accepting those people who were not officially taught to learn Ayurveda, like BAMS or MD or something like that, but they were the one who were present on their soil. They were getting the knowledge from their own ancestors, and that traditional or cultural practice of health management was totally ignored while making the policies for management of health using the traditional systems in India. They lack documentation, they lack any doctrines of or principles of cure, but they in themselves are managing the whole scenario. Now, what about them? They usually possess the knowledge coming from earlier generation, and we found that with their death, this traditional knowledge finishes, and usually they hand over this piece of information to their next generation. But let us believe that if the next generation is not taking up this wonderful knowledge, what would happen to that treasure of information? That would go west, that will go untapped, and we will not be in a position to make anything out of that lost information. So we need to be really careful about. I'm going to touch this during my presentation, that how you need to contribute in retaining their knowledge for our nation. So what are the things that they are really using? They are using the organic and naturally available resources, natural resources, and making giving the relief and we can say medicines to the affected people. Now, if you really wish to understand this, that what was there in the ancient culture, what were those practices, and what were those plants which has really kept our community absolutely strong and healthy, sturdy in all the ups and downs in their life. So my practice was like talk to old generation. So this would be a recommendation for all of you. Talk to traditional community health practitioners who are available in your region. Probably you may get something which is really amazing. You may find certain healing practices which has really healed people from even the dreaded disease, like they claim for cancer also. So if somebody is doing that, let us not ignore. Let us go close to them, connect with them, and try to work for them and generate science out of their traditional practices. Next is experiential learning by doing. खुद करके देखना होगा. You have to go into the field for that matter. And after you generate the knowledge, you have to disseminate that science for the sake of our nation. So telling others, inspiring others would be one of the way by which you can really contribute. So this sense of, we can say duty, I would like to, share some of the moments in during our journey. There was a organization of Vaidu Sammelan, and this particular first date when we went to Gadchiroli forest, which is around 300, 400 kilometers from Nagpur. And when we went over there along with the help of forest principal conservator of forest, with the idea that we will work with these traditional healers in the forest, and we would help them consolidate their presence. We would help them, scientifically validate their claims and like that. So what has happened was information was sent into the forest to assemble in the hall of the forest department for discussion. And to our surprise, nobody turned up on that day at 11 o'clock. Everybody, even the forest officers, everybody was present there, but no Vaidu came into the program. And when we introspected, we found that there were certain incidents in which these peoples were contacted by many, Ayurvedic doctors or some other people from community. They took their knowledge and escaped, and they made their own businesses out of their knowledge. So that was one of the hindrance while we wanted to connect with them. And this may be, possible experience with you as well if you attempt that in your area. But when we really talked to them and we told them that we really wish to, take you along in the scientific developments, and your presence will be taken into access benefit sharing model that has been prescribed by biodiversity law in 2002 globally and 2010 in India. So this act of biodiversity talks about conservation of the local knowledge, conservation of the local resources, and then whatever science that we do or whatever we can say development work that you wish to do, and if you really translate that work into some kind of a commercial activity, you can give the share of the profit back to the original person or the traditional healers. And similarly, when we went closer to them, we had subsequent meetings, and what we found was a wonderful connect. Here you can see that there are many people from the Gadchiroli forest who were acting as traditional healers, working for so many years and taken the knowledge from their ancestors. They were present in all those meetings, and that program of confidence building has now translated into trust and togetherness. We are now working together, and the manifestation, the confirmation of that linkage was when we organized in 2016 in Kolkata. You can see a picture wherein healers, almost 120 healers were there from 15 states of India, and they were the ones who were holding the platform, and they were the ones who talked from their side. They explained many ways, many plans they showed, and which were absolutely new. And there we realized that when it comes to Ayurveda, the knowledge of or the piece of information that we have when we study is Ayurveda has a knowledge of around 2,400 medicinal plants. But while working with these traditional healers, we found that overall in India, they have the information of almost around 10,000 medicinal plants. Now, where are these medicinal plants? They are all locally available at their places, and they are the ones who holds the knowledge related with them, but which is not documented yet. So, immense potential is there to work in this particular area, and we were really happy that Ministry of Ayush gave us the opportunity to create a platform for traditional community health practitioners of India. So while these people were delivering and giving the discourse from the dais, you won't believe the director of AIMS, the director of ICMR, and all top scientists from all the research laboratories, including CDRI, NBRI, and all kind of CSR laboratories, their heads, and they were listening by sitting in the we can say front lines. So people were eager to know as to what are their ways of treating and how they are serving the society without having any official, we can say, knowledge of say BAMS or like that. So this was a wonderful experience, and which showed that the efforts that we were doing in the from 2013 onwards were fruitified, and people came closer to us. So what we went further is educating them. We wanted them to really create a document of their claims, and whatever they are saying, it should not remain in the air itself. So what we did, or what you can do, is contact these practitioners personally along with known person from that area, collect the information regarding the herbal medicine used for treatment, prevention of various diseases by interview process, document the details of the traditional practitioners and the herbal medicine in a specially designed questionnaire, which you can do on your own, and you can be a part of our team, or our larger team who is working all across India, and you can contribute in creating a wonderful database of individuals, of medicinal plants which they use, of the way they use the medicinal plants. So it means the practice. And you can even organize the clinical data of the patients to whom they keep on treating. So that is something wherein we need your participation. Now, another thing which I wish to talk to you regarding the organic nature of the medicines or even the nutraceuticals. So when it comes to nutraceuticals, it comes close to your food. Now, there was one very big project that we did, and the student who worked on this project was Mr. Mohammad Tawqir. And the whole problem was given to us by a very big industry in this sector, and that is called as Organic India Limited. This Organic India Limited, when we got the research project from them, it was almost a 400 crores company engaged in making the organic tea and marketing it. So their brand product was organic tulsi, and the CEO of that company, Mr. Krishan Gupta, when he happened to be in Nagpur for one of the function, he came down to my laboratory after knowing that I work in the area of medicinal plants, and he put across a question. He said that, sir, we are giving the seeds of tulsi to the small and marginal farmers of our region. Almost 2,400 hectares of land is under cultivation of tulsi with the company, and these farmers they just grow it and harvest and give it back to us. Now the problem is that he said that the practices of cultivation has been now totally based on chemical fertilizers based, and they use the chemical pesticides for regular vegetables. And even after telling them, probably they might be using the same chemical fertilizers and pesticides for the growth of our given tulsi seeds. So if that kind of a process or practice of cultivation is there, what would be its impact on the secondary metabolites? So it was he himself had done a lot of literature survey, and he said that globally nobody has done this kind of a study, that what happens to the phytoconstituents when the plants are cultivated in the field by using chemical fertilizers and chemical pesticides. So that kind of a project, when it was decided, we took it for almost 4 years project we worked out, and all the funding was given by Organic India Limited. And the student who finished a PhD through this program was Mohammad Tawqir. I'll just tell you that what was the plan that was designed, and so that you get a complete good scientific information out of this particular challenge. This challenge was focused upon one disease area. We took all the plants which are supposed to be known anti-diabetics, and therefore you can see we had taken around 7 plants, and all those plants are supposed to be growing within a span of 6 to 9 months, because while you wish to perform a research project, you really need to have minimum 3 samples of 3 consecutive crops. So we took the crops in such a way which has a growth pattern of 6 to 9 months. And then we made a list of it, and 2 amongst them I have put in front of you. That is, Karela is known anti-diabetic, Methi is known anti-diabetic. And we really wanted to see what happens to their characteristics, to their phytochemistry, to their pharmacological potential, if they are cultivated by the chemical fertilizers and the chemical pesticides. Now, for that matter, you really need to compare it the growth along with the organic fertilizers and organic pesticides, and that was the design that we took. And the beginning was from the soil itself. We selected a soil which was not toiled, means where there were no crops taken for almost past 50 years, and that soil was taken as a neutral soil, and on that soil we prepared the statistically designed plots for the cultivation of these medicinal plants with the help of Punjab Krishi Vidyapit, Nagpur. And you can see that there was an analysis of soil that was given, and all the macronutrients were were made known. And then we prepared a soil which was there within our own campus, and we marked this as a buffer zone in between the 2 platforms of cultivation, wherein on one side we were supposed to take all these plants using chemical fertilizers, on other side to use the organic fertilizers. Now in front of you is organic manure. So this was the fertilizer which we prepared by using the Biodynamic Association of India and the Govindhan Anusandhan Kendra developer with whom we work. So cow dung, green manure, jaggery, and this kind of very traditional practice to prepare the biomass or biodynamic, we can say, organic manure was done by our our team. And then we also used, for parallel comparison, the non-organic fertilizers like urea, potash, phosphate, as all of us are aware of. When it came to pesticides preparation, you can see that non-organic pesticides like monocrotophos, Indophil, Zynab, they were used on one set of crop which was going to be parallelly grown, and on the other we prepared the नीम जो है, नीम का पानी जो है वो बनाया, and then as an antifungal करके जो लहसुन होता है, allium sativum, that paste was created, and then that water was used as a fungicide. So insecticides and fungicides were made from organic side also. So whole thing was clear, and then we started the cultivation. Now you will be really amazed what pharmacy people are supposed to do about this kind of studies. Let me tell you that since we are concerned with health, we were concerned not only about the vegetative aspects of it, but we were also most concerned about the phytochemistry aspect of it. So here you can see that this is the case of Trigonella fenugreecum and a methi. Jo OTF, you have to keep in mind, this is organically grown, and this was non-organically grown Trigonella fenugreecum. And the study went on for till its full growth till harvesting. So 15 days, 20 days, 35 days, 35 days. And their growth pattern was observed, the number of leaflets, the kind of inflorescence that comes, the kind of fruitation for other plants, not only for Trigonella, but these kind of studies were done. A lot of microscopy studies were done. So you can see here that we checked the height, secondary branches, flowers, secondary roots, and leaves. And what we really found that the organic one has really had a wonderful growth, and a lot of life was there, and there was an early initiation of flowers. Then we found that yes, the date of germination for both the crops was also observed. कितने दिनों में ये उगता है जमीन में से, और organic वाला कितने दिनों में होता है. Then however, one of the critical observation that was in front of us was that जो chemical fertilizers के साथ में grow किया हुआ था, NTF, non-organically grown trigonal phenol, it has shown higher mean value of weight, and therefore ultimately higher overall yield. So vegetative mass was heavier when it came to the chemically drawn or the chemically supplied fertilizers, and the plant was heavier as compared to that. We found that there is no very significant difference in the microscopy, and this kind of studies has really set a few things we identified. But when it comes to the nutrition and talking about its protein, fat, carbohydrates, so these are all primary metabolites and metabolites of significance. We found that the organic one has a higher energy. So kilocalories per 100 gram was more in organically grown trigonal phenol. However, if you compare the certain negative elements like total ash and acid insoluble ash, you would found that the ash value was more when the plants were grown in the non-organic culture, means supplied fertilizers and the pesticides. What was of really significance for you to note कि क्या होता है अगर हम लोग ऑर्गेनिक से करते हैं और अगर केमिकल से करते हैं, तो आप देखेंगे oxalates and phytates. These are two enemy kind of things which are present in the plants, and which were almost 4 to 5 times higher in the plants as compared to that of the organically grown cultivated Trigonella phenol. As compared to that, if you see the positive aspects, vitamin C, the bitters जो उसमें होते हैं, which are really helpful for our health, they were higher in organically cultivated Trigonella phenol. In case of heavy metal analysis, again as it was expected, जिसके ऊपर में नॉन ऑर्गेनिक यानी केमिकल फर्टिलाइजर्स डाले थे, जिनके ऊपर में केमिकल फर्टिलाइजर्स यूज की गई थी, उसमें ऑलमोस्ट 7 to 8 times higher lead was observed, and this has really alarmed us ki what might be happening to all our vegetables which are now coming because of the use of a lot of fertilizers, chemical fertilizers and pesticides. So when it came to pesticide analysis, we found that almost 80 times higher the percentage of monoprotophos was observed on the leaves of Trigonella phenolgicum as compared to the organically grown Trigonella phenolgicum, which showed absolutely minimal, since it was there besides the growth plot of the non-organic one. So there was some infestation, but it was absolutely minimal. It was in traces 0.01 mg, and therefore it was insignificant presence. But this is something which is really alarming, and this is now applicable to all our vegetables which we bring in our home and we eat. So see the level of pesticides which we observed on the leaves. Now let us zoom in. Let us bring all those extracts which we prepared in the laboratory, and we found that the yield is not hampering. And then we did the qualitative phytochemical screening, wherein presence of their secondary metabolites like polyphenols, saponins, sterols, carbohydrates, and flavonoids were made. And we did the chromatographic studies, densitometric analysis was made, and what we found was that this is a happy note for all of us, that all the secondary metabolites means the metabolites which are responsible for giving us the physiological activity were higher in the Trigonella phenolgicum, which was grown organically. So it means that when it comes to naturally growing of the plant also responds in a proper manner. The response is like, it has got more quantity of the secondary metabolites, and therefore we can really assume that the medicinal activity should be more for those plants which are grown organically. So it means that अगर इसी चीज को अगर हम लोग देखें तो organically means जो जंगल से आता है उसकी activity definitely अच्छी रहेगी as compared to those grown in the urban area or those which are cultivated. So this is the indicator of the presence of the high level of secondary metabolites in the plants. In case of Trigonella, we really zoomed into a marker called as diagenin, and we did the HPTLC studies utilizing diagenin as one of the marker, and we found that yes, all our samples, either the organic ones or the non-organic ones, they show the presence of diagenin, and the quantification was ultimately done in multiple samples in the seeds as well as in the leaves. We found that yes, the organically cultivated Trigonella phenamgricum seeds, जो मेथी का दाना होता है, it has been found to have little more secondary metabolite as compared to that of a non-organically grown Trigonella phenamgricum. Similarly for the leaves. So these kind of studies have affirmed that yes, ऐसा नहीं होता है कि एकदम से कोई constituent गायब हो जाएगा अगर आप chemically cultivate करते हैं तो. It is shown that it remains there, and therefore we can assume that okay, the marker is there and the extract is almost same as that of the organically grown, then it should deliver its desired pharmacological activity. We also did the HPLC studies, and in that we have again taken diagenin as marker. We have seen that in both the samples, either you take the OTF, means organically grown or non-organically grown, there is a presence of diagenin, and these are the results. So you can see that okay, the secondary metabolites are present in both the kind of grown plants, and but they are little higher in organic ones. As a pharmacist, whenever we talk about emphasizing the pharmacological activity, we usually keep on checking the toxicity levels also. So for that matter, in the biotechnology department of our university, we had a very recently brought bioluminescent mechanism, and they were using bioluminescent bacteria. Now these bioluminescent bacteria, on the top you can see that it luminesces, means when the light is going across them, it illuminates. So you can see the fluorescence out of their body. But then when we tested both the samples, like the OTF organically grown and the non-organically grown Trigonella phenamgricum at a definite concentration, we found that that was a real surprise. So all the secondary metabolites were matching, everything was there, but cytotoxicity, it was killing, means the non-organically grown, जो हमने रासायनिक खाद से बड़ा किए हुए जो Trigonella phenamgricum था, that was actually killing the bacteria. So killing the life was observed at a lower concentration using the chemically grown Trigonella phenamgricum, and this was a indicator कि हम लोग कितना सजग रहना जरूरी है, कितना important है for all of us to use organically grown either say nutrition or the medicines also. So here this is the concentration, means the non-organically grown was killing almost 50% of the bioluminescent bacteria at a concentration of 60. At a very low concentration it was having 50% fatalities. However, organically grown was having a higher concentration. It means that you can give a higher dose of organic ones to give 50% of. So it was more safer as compared to that of the chemically grown. This was another dimension that was our focus, and that was just to see कि किस तरह से behave करता है इसका anti-diabetic characteristics. So we took all the samples of organically Trigonella phenamgricum and the non-organically grown Trigonella, and the concentration was decided, and then when we found that it was found, you can see from the graphs that organically cultivated Trigonella phenamgricum at a minimum concentration that was of 100 mg per kg had shown absolutely wonderful and amazing results on the fasting and post-meal management of the sugars. As compared to that, you can see even the percentage blood glucose also decreased with the organically cultivated Trigonella phenamgricum. Compared to that, if you see Trigonella phenamgricum cultivated using chemical fertilizers was showing absolutely almost negligible or nil results. So it means that even though we boast upon the presence of the secondary metabolites in the plants, even though phytochemically we found out that yes, the diagenin marker is available, and the concentration is good enough. It is comparable in both kind of plants which are coming from both the systems of cultivation. But when it came to the pharmacological activity, we found that the non-organically grown medicinal plant was not working. It was not giving the desired pharmacological activity, and this remains a note of it should be noted by all of us that whenever we talk about using a medicinal herb for preparing medicinal products or formulations, we really need to know whether the medicinal plant has come from the organic sources or it has been cultivated using chemical fertilizers. If it is coming from chemical fertilizers uses, probably you may get all its phytochemistry in the laboratory, but you will not find any pharmacology coming out of it, no medicinal benefits out of this. So this same kind of a thing applies probably to our foods which are coming into our platter by using the chemical fertilizers. So good things are there, but there are certain anti-nutritional factors were there. Like we found that oxalates and phytates, they were almost 8 times higher as compared to that of organically grown. So our tagline is only the organically grown foods or medicinal herbs are better for you. So this was one experience that we had, and this was the first of its kind of a study that we did, and it was acknowledged and appreciated by the company which supported us for that project for 4 years. And this became a document of reference for many. So we disseminated this information to the farmers with whom we are working in our region, and now I'm very happy to tell you that almost 160 acres of land being cultivated for the cultivation of medicinal plants in our Vidarbha by the young, we can say, farmers. They are using the organically grown techniques for growing of their medicinal plants, and they are getting good value out of it. Another example I would like to share with you is another student of mine. Now this student was student of botany, and she was Chetana Ladda, and while doing her PhD, I was her guide, and what we really focused upon was on a one particular geographical area. So this is a Bihapur Tehsil, which is almost 70 kilometers out of Nagpur. And what we did was let us identify the villages for survey. Survey of what? Survey of the wild edible plants. Now these wild edible plants, they were some time back, maybe the जो बैठे हुए अंकल जी है, इनके पहले जनरेशन तक सभी लोग खाते थे, यानी जंगल में जाना, वहां से वो फल फूल वनौषधियां ये लाना और अपने भोजन में उसको जगह थी. They were the part of our platter and our food. But now kind of zones, and the semi-urban part of the life has now gone into the urbanized component, and therefore whatever we eat, we usually purchase it from the जो दुकान होता है वहां से we usually purchase. But while zooming in, while going back and exploring into the history, we did this survey in search of things which are still organic, जो अभी भी organic है, मिल रही हैं, जंगल से उत्पाद है, और वो मिलती है अगर आप गांव खेड़े की तरफ में जाए तो यहाँ पे अगर आप ये आजी भाई के टोकनी में अगर झाँक के देखेंगे तो चारा है, इमली है और चिचबिलाई है. So these are the things which were regularly consumed by our community, and probably that was the reason why our ancestors were more stronger, sturdier, healthier, more immune to disease conditions than our generation or the coming generation, which is really, it is going to be a worrisome aspect for all of us if they do not eat organic and natural elements. What would be their lifestyle and what would be their so reaching out to those people, reaching out to the elder generation, connecting them, and then taking the note of everything. We did this survey, and we were helped wonderfully well. Now this gentleman, Kaka jo hai, Shri Ramchandra Yadav Patki, who helped us a lot. Now he is no more. But we really owe and we really thank Patki Kaka for guiding us and taking us to the, the history and telling us about the available flora and fauna. It is there. It is still there. ऐसा नहीं है कि vanish हो गया. But we have stopped using it. We have stopped listening to what our elders are telling us कि ये खाना चाहिए. This is तेंदुओं के पेड़ का ये फल है. इसको हमारे इधर में काफी अच्छा इसको यूज करते हैं और actually this is equivalent to that of a chiku, but इसको टेम्बरा बोलते हैं, टेम्बरा. And now this has lost. This doesn't come to our home. We really do not found them. And when we prepared a list of edible plant species, you can see in front of you, these were all regularly consumed in the village level, and people used to be very healthy and happy while after consuming it. So just I would just tell some amongst them, like charoli is one, then Borvia diffusa, which is now called as Punarnava, was regularly being consumed in the the regular preparations of the food. So you can see around 33 such plants were there, which were growing in forest naturally without being cultivated by anyone, which are freely available. And we, however, have really ignored their presence. We never valued them too much, and therefore now they are not part of our dishes. So you can see the colocasia is there. You can see a lal bhaji. Then you can see the cassia tora, that is tarota. So all these are still available. We are not using them. But when we generated piece of information out of our laboratory, we reached out to the farmers. We started telling them why you should go organic and why you should do that, because it is not only good for the person who is going to consume your produce, but it will also give you more value in the market. And that kind of a structure is slowly coming up. So the things will not happen drastically, but it will come slowly. Now here, while pursuing all these simultaneously, we were working along with the scientists from all across the globe. So here you can see people from almost 22 nations were brought during our second international conference of ethnopharmacology in Nagpur. I was the organizing secretary, and this society really connected the scientists who wish to work for these kind of traditional leaders, who wish to help them in creating a lot of science and really justifying the claims and validating the claims which traditional healers are making. Another success story which may inspire many of us is about an entrepreneur development program. And a person named as Gopesh Badwai, he came to my laboratory and he was saying that, sir, I'm absolutely good in marketing, but can you please suggest me some product which can be, of great concern and importance to the community. So we zoomed in and we said that diabetes is more prevalent, and let us prepare a traditionally based ethnopharmacology based formulation. And he agreed to support a student for establishing this product. So this was almost 11 months we did work on this project. We did a lot of literature survey. We identified the plants which are of great use in diabetes. What kind of extraction has to be done? What kind of processes, minimal processes, which will protect its natural form were done. And then we did toxicity studies as well as the efficacy studies for the management of diabetes in the animals as well. To our surprise, we found that its clinical trials were also very successful. People were absolutely happy, and the whole idea was like these were all small sachets like a deep tea, and you can just pour that powder in the warm water and strain it and then drink that particular kada at home. And I'm very happy that the person who was not belonging to science or any pharmacy background has created an industry now in the Gondia MIDC, and he does the e-marketing, and he gets all the payments in advance. Moreover, the happiest part for us was that the concept which we translated into a project and a product which was named as Diactral, It was adjudged as the best novel Ayurveda medicine in December 2016 by Gujarat government at a national level Ayurvedic and natural product exhibition. So this really elated. This is a kind of a congratulations that has come to the efforts which we made in our laboratories, and this kind of appreciation at the national level to the product which was developed in our laboratory has really, we can say, affirmed and confirmed the way we are thinking about. So what kind of research are they expecting? So a research which is having an applied value and which can go straight into the services of the society shall be our goal. So this was a very happy kind of example and the experience that we had with Hilarious Ayurveda. Now it is working in Mundi Park, Gondia, having its own factory. We also worked for supporting the startup. There was a very young chap who came from IIT Powai, and he went on a trip to Melghat. And Melghat, he was, while he was roaming into the forest, he could meet some Adivasi padas, and he found that why the people from this area are malnourished. So he studied a lot. He found that there are many NGOs which are working for the eradication of malnutrition for these people. But when he came down to my office, he said, "Sir, can you suggest some kind of a nutrition package which would be helpful to the people or the malnourished population of Melghat?" So we deliberated and we found that, yes, when it comes to malnourishment, even though they are, living in the forest area, what is the difference of, these people who are living in Melghat forest and these people who are living in the Gadchiroli forest. In Gadchiroli forest, we do not find any malnourishment. However, in Melghat forest, we found that there is a malnutrition. So the whole idea was brought into a kind of remedial measures which have been taken by government and the NGOs. So they were all supplying the vitamins, the proteins in the form of a packaged, dabba. And they were asking these people to, feed upon them, and probably that nutrition meets they were trying to meet, which was never accepted by the local communities in a proper way. So we deliberated and we had a formulation based on the traditional information of the plants which are available in their region, and those plants were brought in. We did the extraction, we prepared some kind of a very basic formulations, and the formulation was tried and tested in the children's in particular. So malnourishment in children below the age group of say around 12 was our target, and to our surprise, I'll tell you, the classrooms, the schools were decided, the physicians were decided, and this herbal formulation was given on all fronts, like they're increasing the height, increasing the weight, increasing their we can say innate capacity of memory, retention and recall. Everything improved. So the students who were under treatment for almost 1 year using this formulation were showing better results in their classrooms. And this is all documented by this particular person who came, who was a very young man. And then he established a company called as VSK Herbals Private Limited. And the whole study was done by my student, Rasika Rangari. So we are working for society, with society, and giving them the working solutions. Another sector to whom we work is the medicinal plant growers of our region. And you can see that we usually go and talk to them. We usually see what kind of cultivation practices are they following, what kind of effort has been done for their marketing and like that. Another very happy experience that I would like to share is about the Ran Bhaji. So when I was telling you about Bhivapur Tehsil and the exploration of the plants which are available in the nature, which were there in our platter. So we worked with the ASHA workers in that region for almost 6 months, wherein ASHA workers under Dr. Dhabekar sir, you can see, and Radha madam was Vice President of Nutrition Society of India, Nagpur. They helped us in identifying the herbs which comes along after the rainy season and which vanishes. So those were the perennial kind of plants which were noted down by these ASHA workers after having discussions with the elders in the various villages. So we found that Surprisingly, all these plants are still there. शेताच्या धुरावर किंवा बांधाच्या बाजूला किंवा नदीच्या पाटाच्या बाजूला ह्या सगळ्या वनस्पती अक्षरशः मिळतात, पण आता वापरल्या जात नाही. While noting and recording, we found that in the month of December 31st, 2018, we took a Mahotsav that was called as a Ranbhaji Mahotsav, and all the almost around 36 plants were identified which were traditionally used in our dishes, and then there were recipes also there. So those recipes were prepared, and it was a wonderful knowledge sharing experience for all of us. You can see wonderful and a good piece of information was generated, and the whole knowledge that is still there lying with the traditional cultures and our ancestors has to be conserved is the lesson out of all this kind of a thing. So we should not lose out. We should not lose out on the treasure that we have so far with us, and it will be our responsibility, particularly as a pharmacist, to look into all these medicinal plants or plants in particular which are of nutritional value significance as well as the medicinal value significance. So when it came down to corona, you might be looking at a screen wherein these plants were very commonly used for the purpose of management of corona. Now where are these all these plants? They are somewhere around us, either somewhere around us in our vicinity or they are in your kitchen, but they were all helpful in upbringing your immunity. They were good enough to alleviate the viral infection. They are good antivirals, like you can see here, Peru jo hai hamara wo hai. Then we have tulsi, we have ginger, we have aromatic oils coming from Gauti Chaha and many. Then we have the Tridax procumbens, we have haldi, we have piper, everything which was organic, which was naturally available, where the help which was necessary for all of us to sustain the onslaught of the virus. And we all know that India has really fared well as compared to many nations which were relied more on the synthetic medicines. So there were many failures in many industries. However, India, even with its immense population and even with the intensity it was hit upon in the second wave, we really survived better because many of us were dependent on this kind of natural resources. So you can see, you can connect yourself. Mungna Shenga is there, Adulsa was there, Kadunim was there, Gondim was there, Nimbu, Gudahal means apna Jaswand hai, Aam hai. So all these plants which are somewhere around you, we usually do not see them in gross. We do not really acknowledge and thank nature Almighty for bestowing us with such a wonderful treasure. So it is usually said that nature has really made all the necessary arrangements for you in your vicinity. You have to really become smart and identify कि मेरे जो पेड़ पौधे मेरे आजू बाजू में बगल में है उनका क्या उपयोग है. And this is where our intervention from the pharmaceutical sciences comes, wherein we really peep in and say that okay, this plant contains these secondary metabolites, and these are the primary metabolites, like that. So working from different angles, right from clearing your digestive tract to the antiviral properties, simple dhania or jeera is of great significance. We know that, and we have to really acknowledge the practices which were suggested to us by our ancestors. So herein comes the integration. When I was telling you this story of bringing them close to us was a very difficult journey. You can imagine गढ़चिरौली फॉरेस्ट में अगर लोग आना नहीं चाहते थे और साइंटिस्ट के साथ में हमारे साथ में बात नहीं करना चाहते थे तो नेशनल लेवल पे कैसा पॉसिबल होता. So I personally traveled to many places. I spoke to many of their sangatnas. There are many confederations are there. There are in South there is a Lok Swasthya Parampara. In Chhattisgarh we have the traditional healers committee is there. And in Rajasthan, समूह उन्हें गुनी लोग बोलते हैं, गुनी ऐसा उनको बोलते हैं. So गुनी लोगों से मुलाकात हुई. गुजरात में next 2018 का जब वर्ल्ड आयुर्वेदा कांग्रेस हुआ था, that time we had around 160 healers from 22 states. So slowly we are making them aware about their importance in the community. It is not correct to call them as chola chap or bogus, because if you say that, then you are really negating their contribution in the health management system of India for thousands of years. कहाँ थे आपके BMS डॉक्टर 50 साल के पहले, 30 साल के पहले? नहीं थे. Where were the allopathic doctors before, say, 70 years, 80 years? Nahi the. Then who were managing your health? Who were managing the health of the society? So these were the people. We really need to thank them. We really need to handhold them. We really need to take their claims and their medicines to our laboratories, justify their medicines, the practices, and their knowledge with the help of the instruments that we have, with the help of scientific models that we have for establishing all this knowledge into a wonderful document. Now this document, we all of us are from the teaching fraternity. We know the importance of generating this knowledge. This knowledge is going to be an intellectual property rights of India. Forget if it is of any personal, but first of all, we need to protect it, because let me tell you very clearly that while I went for a paper presentation in United States of America in University of Mississippi in 2019, I was really surprised to see the medicinal plant garden of University of Mississippi. And 80% of the plants were of Asian origin in their garden. So it means that the scientific fraternity from all across the world, or the highest order of scientific fraternity, is working on the sciences, which are the traditionally piece of information of the countries from this Indian peninsula, particularly from India. And we are least bothered about all those plants. We would end up rather fighting for say the patents की जैसा आदरणीय माशेलकर जी को करना पड़ा देश के लिए, बासमती राइस और हल्दी के लिए जिस तरह से झगड़ा करना पड़ा और हमें वो रिस्टोर करते वक्त कितनी तकलीफ हुई, ये हमें मालूम ही नहीं है. सो अगर कोई इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स आपके यहाँ के पेड़ पौधों का अगर किसी देश विशेष ने अगर लेके गए बेस्ड ऑन the science that they are doing, then it would be a great loss. Fighting for that purpose would be a waste of energy. Instead, why don't we as a scientific fraternity raise our standards, rise ourselves, go close to these people, handhold them, talk to them, speak to them, उनको होल्ड करिए और उनसे ये इंफॉर्मेशन मिलके आपके लेबोरेटरी में काम करिए. काम करने के बाद में जो आईपीआर जनरेट होगा उसमें उन्हें सहभागी करिए. कोई पब्लिकेशन आपके लैब से इनके काम के बेसिस पे निकलता है, उनका नाम लिखिए. कोई कमी नहीं मानी जाएगी. इनफैक्ट यू विल बी प्रेज्ड, यू विल बी अप्रिशिएटेड बाय द community, scientific community, especially for acknowledging these we can say the initiators of that knowledge. So you can see in this picture, people are listening to traditional healers. They are the ones who brought too many medicinal plants which were never seen in earlier by this scientific body. With me, where ICMR director, with me now there is a NIA, that is National Institute of Ayurveda, NIA Delhi की director है यहाँ पे खड़ी. Then All India Institute of Medical Sciences के Dr. Y.K. Gupta ji was there listening to these traditional healers. Vijay ji Bhatkar, who is now president of Vigyan Bharati. These are the people who are now supporting the approach that we have taken collectively for the management of this information and then the science for the better benefit of our society. So can we do that? You need to really introspect. क्या हम लोग आगे आ सकते हैं? क्या हम लोग हैंड होल्ड कर सकते हैं? क्या हम लोग हमारे एक मिक के लेबोरेटरीज को एक की मिक के साथ में जोड़ के इन लोगों के लिए काम कर सकते हैं? So suppose if I am not having LCMS with me, I usually take help of Jadavpur University, wherein Pulok Mukherjee sir was there. So I do not have any dearth of equipment for my work, and I usually get the things done by the help from my connects out of India, right? So it means that we really need to integrate. This integration is not only of the healers and you, but the integration has to be amongst us also. And that is what the real challenge is. So you can see wonderful, happy pictures. You can see Vaidya Ramprasad Rajwade with me, and we were discussing what he was claiming. I will tell you the claim which he was there. He was telling us. उनका कहना था, हम लोग शाम में कॉन्फ्रेंस के बाद में बैठे थे. वो बोल रहे थे, सर मैं हड्डी जोड़ने के लिए जाना चाहता हूँ और हड्डी कैसे जोड़ता हूँ. तो मैंने पूछा उनको, तो बोले सर एक हथौड़ा ले लेते हैं, आपके पाँव पे मैं मारता हूँ, मेरे भी मारता हूँ, मेरे पैर को अगर क्रैक आ जाती है आपके तो 72 घंटे में जोड़ दूंगा, और अगर टूट जाता है तो 8 दिन में जोड़ दूंगा. Now just ask yourself, can any orthopedic surgeon challenge you this kind of a promise, or can he stand up to this kind of a challenge? No, absolutely there is no possibility. The modern sciences has so many limitations. They will never be able to achieve what these people have been for because of their traditional knowledge. So this was realized. I always keep on telling this particular kissa, that after this conference, when I was in Nagpur, and then I was flying to National Physical Institute Delhi ka, and I was checked in and I was inside the airport, and then there was a phone call from my sister who met with an accident, and वो बोले कि दादा I met with an accident and people have kept me out road के side में मुझे बैठा के रख दिया है, थोड़ा आके मुझे hospital में लेके चलिए, there is a problem. So since I was there inside the airport, I asked one of my brother to go and take her to the hospital. So she was taken to Hokard Hospital, and through the X-ray that was done by Dr. Siddhartha Jagtap, and he found that the collarbone is broken. ये जो bone है यहाँ का ये टूट गया है, और ये टूटने की वजह से एलोपैथिक साइंसेस का लिमिटेशन देखिए कैसा है कि उन्होंने उसे सिर्फ ऐसे और बराबर कर दिया, फिट कर दिया, और बोले यहाँ पे प्लास्टर भी नहीं कर सकते. प्लास्टर नहीं कर सकते तो कैसा होल्ड करना. तो दे हैव अ बेल्ट व्हिच कम्स ओवर इट एंड देन अक्रॉस योर चेस्ट, एंड देन my sister was asked not to move for at least 25 days. So she was supposed to be bedridden for 25 days. लोटा भी नहीं उठाना, इतना instructions allopathic doctor की तरफ से था. So I remember the challenge that was given by Ramprasad Rajwade, and I called him from Delhi and I said, Ramprasad ji, आप जो बोल रहे थे उसको चेक करने की बारी अनायासी आ गई है. So can you help us? बोले sir, you send me the address, I will courier my medicine to you, and you start medication. And you will not believe that on the 10th day of inspection, when my sister went to Dr. Jagtap for the next level of inspection and the X-ray was taken, it was found that the bone was completely fused. वो पूरा अच्छे से जुड़ गया था, and doctor was absolutely surprised कि ये कैसा हो गया, and he appreciated my sister कि शायद आपकी body has some good cosmic power, and the healing has been tremendously fast. But I was knowing, she was knowing that it was all because of the traditional medicine which was given to us by Ramprasad Rajwade. And I would also like to thank Kashyap ji from Chhattisgarh Healers Association, who had prepared this medicine and given it to us. So all these kind of manifestations and the experiences came while we started experiencing the things through our research. So my talk would be summarized here with certain points of wisdom, and that says that wish to provide all the wisdom in research for establishing a panacea from natural sources. So what I owe to the society, I really wish to affirm again that I want to do research, but then I want to establish the panacea, यानी ऐसी औषधि बनाना चाहता हूँ कि जिससे सारे जो दर्द हैं, सारे बीमारियां जो वो ठीक हो जाए, but by using the wisdom that is prevailing in our tradition. So we really need to open our eyes, observe the things around you. What are the people who are there in surrounding you? What are their practices? What kind of plants they use? How they use? What kind of benefits their patients are getting? Instead of outrightly rejecting, refusing, and throwing them off, try to give your ear to them. अपना कान उनको दीजिए और सही मायने में आप उनके लिए काम कर सकते हैं. तो करना है रिसर्च, बट कैसा? प्रिजर्विंग द होलीनेस, aesthetically extending technological advantages. So we are in the era of technological advantages. Let us make maximum out of it and develop scientific evidences. Now these evidences only are accepted by the world community, by the modern society. You need to really generate a lot of documents, a lot of certification, a lot of standardization values, a lot of validating documents, and everything is our responsibility. So let us do that, preserving the holiness. While doing so, you have to keep your heart, your mind, and intuition altogether receptive. So no arrogance, no like मैं ही सब जानता हूँ, nothing. So you have to club and work with many people from your fraternity. You have to really acknowledge them. You have to make a we usually say a team of good people working together, and therefore you need to be receptive. You need to listen to maybe many people, their suggestions, their contribution has to be acknowledged and then appreciated. And therefore whatever small piece of work that I could share with you pertaining to the natural resources being used for the purpose of food, nutraceuticals, or ultimately drugs, it was all in front of you. And really believe me, it was not me alone, it was we. So we executed it. Our team worked, and our team, which is spread all across India, has helped us in coming out with something of value, something of significance, and some things which can really inspire many people like you in the coming days. So I really need to say that I love what I do. Whatever duties that we have from Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences, we do that. But beyond that, we have a extension arms. We keep on believing on the lifelong learning processes, and we want to touch the lives because of our technological advantages. So I would come to the close of our talk, and before we open the question answer session, if at all it is there, I would like to pray for all of you. There is a wonderful Vishwa Prarthana which looks into the benefits of all. I would like to recite that for you. I would say that in Marathi. This is scripted by Sadhguru Shri Vaman Rao Pai, and I would just now pray for all of you. He Ishvara Sarvana Sanli Buddhi De Arogya De सर्वांना सुखात आनंदात ऐश्वर्यात ठेव सर्वांचं भलं कर कल्याण कर रक्षण कर आणि तुझे गोड नाव मुखात खंड राहू दे. So the journey and the piece of experience that I could share with you today, probably of significance to you. Maybe it will inspire many of you. Maybe there may be many queries in your mind which you can ask me, or we can remain in touch with each other. My contact details are here, and at this point of juncture of closure, I would like to thank all of you in particular who are present here physically, and all those organizations who consistently help me in framing up my set of thought process, my set of articulation, my efforts of my laboratories, and my whatever plannings that we do. So the basis of that remains significantly contributed by all these samsthas and all these organizations. And yes, all our industry friends, healers of India, collaborators, well-wishers, and our dear students, including them, I would like to really express my sincere gratitude to all of you who have been there listening for me for almost 1.5 hours. And maybe we would meet physically very soon. With that wish of abundance and happiness for all of you, I would like to sum up my talk of today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an amazing session. Now the session is open for discussion. I request all the participants to unmute your mic and ask question directly, or you can place your question in WhatsApp group.
Hello, good morning, sir.
So are there any questions? Yeah, please. Good morning.
Sir, this is Tirupati Rasala.
Oh, good. Tirupati. Good morning.
Yes, sir. How are you, sir? Good morning, sir. Good morning. How are you?
Absolutely fine. Thank you so much. Right.
Yeah. Once again, it was a very nice and impressive lecture by you, sir. As always, usual. So you are being the inspiration. You are my guru since last 16 years. I know you personally. What's your contribution to the society, to the farmers, to the naturopathy, herbal, Ayurveda? Everything I know you personally, sir. Actually, you are motivation and a kind inspiration to all of us. And right now we are here because of your guidance and motivation only. And we know what you are doing. And we are in the same path, sir. We are trying our level best to do something. And we are also contributing something to the society. बहुत अच्छा
Right.
लगा
Thank you
सर
so
आपका
much.
सुन के.
See, ultimately, your students has to remain the source of your inspiration, rather. So,
Yeah.
and that keeps you younger. What I believe you referred me for last 16 years, right? And my
Yes.
presence in this field, including industry, is almost 25 years. So half of my life is in services. But as you rightly found out that if you have an interest in what you do, or if you love what you do, you can really reach to the top of your destination. And this is what I really feel, that identify your love in work, choose that particular field, and express yourself. So once you keep on doing that, there is no, we can say, nothing can stop you. Many people, they think that we have so many problems, sir, how can we do this? So usually this kind of a question comes, we do not have time. So if you say like that, if you say I do not have time, then there will not be any time. But if you say I have ample time, I can do whatever I wish to, then things will happen. And that is the only change that is need to be brought. It's nothing like that we get monetarily benefited out of all this extra work, nothing like that. But if you identify an area which you work and you love from your heart, then nothing can stop you. So God bless you, Tirupati, for coming on the microphone and telling your views. Thank you so much. If at all any questions are there, I would be really happy to give you the answers. And
सर आपने
yeah,
आपने बोला था सर कि गांव में जो आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट द विलेजर्स ऑर्थोपेडिशियंस नॉट एलोपैथिक
yeah.
ऑर्थोपेडिशियंस sir
Right.
is there yes sir is there anybody in your mind who treat the spondylitis or a kind of the
Yes,
cervical?
yes, there are people. Avdeshi Kashyap and Nirmal Kumar Avasti are our two resources from Chhattisgarh. There is one particular healer who joined very recently during our Pune conference in Pune College of Pharmacy. He was from Rajasthan. And unbelievable things are there. Like when a patient enters into his room, only from his walking, he identifies what kind of a problem the person is having. So diagnosis, if you can do properly, definitely there are remedial measures. Many times, even the modern science fails in properly diagnosing the disease, and therefore the wrong medication, then side effects and many other things comes in picture. But then things like chronic ailments, particularly like spondylitis, you say, or other degenerative diseases which comes in your body in a long span of time. And because of either ignorance or because of age, we accept them to be, part and parcel of our life. But can we really cure all those kind of diseases? Yes. So the nature, you can see that the nature blooms. यानी अगर हम लोग देखेंगे कि हर साल पत्तियां गिरती है और फिर से उस पेड़ को नई पत्ती आती है, तो जीवन का ये वजह ही यही है कि again it should come back on track. So coming back on track with the help of nature itself, is the the theme line of the workers who are working in this particular society. So there are definitely people who can give you medication. They will also now acknowledge कि कैसे हम लोग इसे इंटीग्रेट करना है, इंटीग्रेट कैसे करना है, तो किस तरह का अपने फिजियोथेरेपी लेना चाहिए, ये भी वो बताएंगे. So they are learning your newer things. They do not argue upon कि ये मेरा ही दवाई लेना चाहिए. They will suggest you कि मेरे दवाई के साथ में सर आप ये भी कर सकते हैं, and you will get benefited faster. So there are people. We are now having a repository of information about them.
Yes, sir. I will be in contact with you.
Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So Firoz sir.
Sir, yes sir.
Yeah.
Very nice session, sir. प्रॉब्लम ये है
Thank
सर,
you so much.
ऑर्गेनिक फूड्स पे लोग कब भरोसा करेंगे?
हाँ. आपका आवाज नहीं आ रहा है. हेलो.
When sir people are trust particularly on organic foods,
हाँ.
ये कब चेंज हो जाएगा ये? When it will be
अच्छा,
becomes,
कब चेंज होगा?
हाँ.
हाँ हाँ हाँ. देखिए चेंज होने के लिए ऐसा ही होता है कि जहाँ पे रास्ता खत्म हो जाता है,
ओके.
जो रास्ते पे हम लोग चल रहे हैं,
यस सर.
वो जहाँ पे खत्म हो जाएगा वहां से यू टर्न लेना ही होगा.
सही
सो
बात.
गूगल मैप भी यही कहता है कि अगर आप डेस्टिनेशन सेट कर लीजिए और गलत रास्ते पे चले गए तो इट आस्क यू टू टेक अ यू टर्न एंड टेक अ डिफरेंट रूट. सो नाउ वी आर बीइंग प्रेस्ड बाय आवर प्रैक्टिसेस. एक ऐसा समय आने ही वाला है, एंड वी आर नाउ वेरी क्लोज टू दैट, कि जब हमें फोर्सफुली वी हैव टू टर्न बैक एंड एक्नॉलेज एंड अप्रिशिएट ऑल आवर ट्रेडिशनल प्रैक्टिसेस. जितना पॉसिबल हो हम लोग जितना फॉलो करेंगे उतना हमारी लाइफ और आने वाली जनरेशन जो है वो अपने लाइफ को एंजॉय कर पाएगी.
ओके सर. ओके, थैंक यू.
Right, thank you. So we can conclude if right
yes.
now there are no
Wait.
questions. Right.
Hello. Sir, excuse
Yeah, hello.
This is
Yeah.
Dr. Nitya from American College. Sir, very nice presentation. Really, you are an inspiration for us. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your very informative session. And in the presentation, you have mentioned diactyl, that Ayurvedic chassis for diabetes, no, sir. It
Yeah.
is like a complementary medicine, or along with allopathy, this has to be taken, sir.
No, it's we can really call it as complementary, because when we really framed this particular formula and when we wanted to use it for the clinical uses, we did not advise the patients to stop their allopathic medicines at a go. So we gave them a formula of tapering down their allopathic doses to the extent of totally relying on Dactra. So it was a almost 2 months process of tapering down for a type 2 diabetes patients, and people are really getting good results. They are able to maintain their sugar levels.
Yes, yes.
And there is a regular demand. So the dietary person, the Gopesh Bhadbhai, he says that he is very thankful to us for giving us such a scientifically established medicine. And they say that he gets the advance of the orders first, and then he supplies the material. So as against बेचने के बाद में पैसा नहीं मिलना है, तो वो बोलते हैं कि मेरी मेडिसिन इतनी अच्छी है कि लोग एडवांस में पहले पैसा भेजते हैं, and then I send them their parcel.
So before taking this diet, we have to consult with the doctor, no, sir?
Instead of doctor, even Dr. means Mr. Bhadbhai, who is the owner of this particular concern, he has now all the data available with him. So many doctors has given him properly the information, the sugar levels. Now he has got the statistically significant data with him coming out of the patients. So he will be straight away able to tell you what should be your doses and what kind of tapering is needed for patient with, say, one particular set of sugar level.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So that is
Thank you.
what we suggest them. You always keep the data for reference, and based on that, life becomes very easy. So thank you,
Yes.
Dr. Nitya,
Thank
for
you, sir.
asking me this question.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to request Ms. Pradna Wadekar ma'am to sum up this session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, sir, for this such an informative session. You have already shared your research in detail. It was in very simple language and very relatable. You also triggered the alarm to say no to non-organic fertilizer used, and they also cause the production of anti-nutrient salads. That was a very new thing to everyone. You also suggested that how the research should be. Research should be in such a way that it should benefit the society directly. So that was such an inspiration. How research should be focused and it should be done. That was that was very best thing that I got from this. And also you told the need to look for the traditional systems of medicines scientifically. It is very important to provide the validation and the documentation for the traditional system of medicine because it has such a potential, huge potential. So I thank sir for this such a wonderful session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I, Miss Anga, on behalf of Bharati Vidyapeeth College of Pharmacy, Kolhapur, take this opportunity to thank our eminent speaker for his wonderful presentation and valuable time. Thank you so much, sir. Now I request all the participants to turn on your camera so that we can have a photo with our eminent speaker. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. I would now take your leave.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you so much. God bless you all. Bye.
Yeah. Thank you.
Dear participants, we will start with our second session shortly. Please stay connected.